Hi guys, and welcome back to Hair Dryer Treatment. It feels weird, but it's just me today. I thought I'd do a morning show for a change, discussing last night's events and what a game it was. I mean, going into that, and I'm sure in the chat you'd back me up, and us United fans felt like we had a bit of a test on our hands. It was going to be a bit of a tricky fixture. Sociedad are doing decent this season, but what a dominant display that was yesterday from us. I'll be honest, I thought the first 3 minutes it could have been 2-1 to them, but then after that, I feel like we controlled the game. I feel like Sociedad kind of played into our hands a little bit with the space that they left in behind the defence. Obviously, Rashford and Dan James were going to run into those channels all day long, and we got a lot of joy from that as well. But yeah, I thought defensively, after those first few minutes, I thought we played well. I thought going forward, played really, really well. Hoping that Scott McTominay obviously is doing okay after the knock that he got. Obviously, had a late fitness test as well. So I'm hoping that isn't too serious. But other than that, it was a really positive performance from us guys. And obviously, I'll read some of your chats in a minute in the chat. But going towards the weekend now, that should give us a lot of confidence going into that Newcastle game. I said that this game could be where we kind of set the stall out and set a bit of a statement, and I felt like we did that last night. Like I say, Sociedad was meant to be a game where it could have been a tricky one. It was one where a lot of United fans definitely feared, but yesterday you'd have to say it was such a dominant performance, particularly after those first few minutes, that shaky start we made. Boy looked a bit all over the place, but definitely we recovered from that. And as James said, it was a professional performance, 100% professional performance. And it was nice as well that we got that comfortable that we could bring the likes of Ahmad on. And I know he didn't do a lot when he came on, but I was buzzing to see him actually getting on the pitch for the first team and excited to see where he goes with United, to be honest. But yeah, I was really impressed with last night. Alex says, "Good morning, Soph. Loving the hat. Thank you for that. I've a bit of a lazy one this morning and put a hat on, but I appreciate it. Morning to Mark. I hope you're good. Um, right, so it just goes to show how fast the Prem is compared to other leagues. Spain is slow. Don't get me started on Benfica. These teams playing in slow motion. Definitely the tempo is different, isn't it? But for me, and I don't know if you guys agree with me in the chat, Real Sociedad, for early on, I mean, Rashford made a running behind really early and should have scored really. You thought they would have learnt the lesson, and they didn't. They left so much space in behind all night. That was there, and like I said, I never learnt the lesson, and they got punished for that. Like what the manager was thinking, I do not know. But like I said, they played into our hands perfectly. The counter attack was definitely on all night. And can I just say as well, I'm absolutely buzzing for Dan James as well. The way that he's had a lot of stick over the past few months or so. People saying he's a flop at United. People saying get rid and whatnot. I've seen rumours that Dortmund want him in exchange for Sancho. I've seen all sorts of rumours about Dan James, but he came on yesterday and I thought he had a really good game. And I know Ricky was buzzing afterwards, but I genuinely thought he had a really professional game. Defensively positioned really well. He helped kickstart some of the counter attacks with nicking the ball. And like I say, running all night long, even at the end, his goal at the end, he was unlucky not to get two, to be fair, but the goal that he was given at the end, that came from his hard work. So late on in the game, he's still willing to run at defenders, running in behind. And I thought he had a great game and he deserves a lot of praise for that. And get in the chat, guys, and let me know, what do you think Dan James' role is this season? Do you think that is very much it in the cup games? He's there to be a bit part player? Or do you actually think that if he keeps this kind of form up, he can perform a lot more in the first team in the league, potentially? That right-hand side, let's be honest, is up for grabs, and it has been for a while now, so it'd be interesting to see what happens. Um, Comrade says, I'm telling yourself, with Dan James, the new right winger, we don't need Jadon Sancho. See what I mean? It could happen. I'm sure Ricky is definitely pushing that bandwagon. But he had a good game yesterday. Like, jokes aside, you have to say he did perform really well. I'm buzzing for his confidence. I was gutted when that first goal obviously was ruled out. So I think he was well deserved of the goal, and I'm grateful that he got that yesterday. But the performance in general, I thought Fred had a really good game. Rashford, even though he should have scored probably a hat trick, to be fair, everything positive that came from was Rashford is involved in it, especially in that first half. And I think that he had a really good game again. And I know it's frustrating in front of goal, and I completely agree with that. But you can't deny how much of a threat he is throughout, constantly. Mike says James put in a shift. Mark says Dan James is a great squad player. Completely agree with that totally. This says how buzzing am I today? I am buzzing, and I'm hoping that we can take this performance now into the weekend. But as you know, I said it the other day, I never feel confident going up against Newcastle. It's just one of them games for me. Hopefully, though, we can perform the same kind of way. But Newcastle is going to be a completely different test. Steve Bruce is not going to leave that space in behind that Sociedad did. It's going to be a very much back against the wall job where we've got to try and break them down. So it's a totally different test for us, and it's going to be a challenge. But going forward, you'd have to say we've definitely got the talent to push on and get a few goals against Newcastle. It's just about whether we turn up. I was worried yesterday, those first 2 minutes when we could have conceded two, a bit all over the place. And normally, and my dad says this a lot, if Boy starts a game badly, he normally finishes badly, like he doesn't really improve. But yesterday, I've got to be honest, he turned it round, shaky start, but then afterwards, and to be fair, they didn't have a lot to do at the back, but I just felt like we controlled the game really, really well. Boye has to place as Ronan. Like I say, he turned it around yesterday. He had a shaky start, but then he recovered, and his pace is definitely useful to us. But I still think that Ollie will revert to the Lindelof Maguire. I really do. I think he'll revert back to that partnership. Newcastle are terrible. Be confident. Just spot on. They are terrible, but even so, they always turn up against us. It's like it's a cup final for them. If I'm honest, and it's just one of them games I can never feel fully confident. And of course, I hope we batter Newcastle at the weekend. Of course I do, but I think it depends on what United turns up on, from our side of things. Harry says, why am I not on United stand anymore? I'm always willing to go United stand. I've still got on my mark, still got on my flex, and I'm still here if they want me on there. I know they've had a bit of a mix around and whatnot. They're trying the new faces on there, which is cool. But there's no bad relationships there or anything like that. I'm still very much friends and a part of United stand. It's just I haven't been on a fan camp for a while because obviously the COVID situation, the format has been very different, and that's all it is. Alex, thank you so much for that super chat. It says, I am happy that we can now rest our best players for the second leg and use a game to give Amad Diallo more game too. Buzzing to see more of him. And hopefully Shortar as well. I'd love to see him getting on there. Hugo's another one. I think there's a lot of players who, realistically, I would like to see in that second leg. I think even players like Mata deserve a run out. Donny van der Beek, hopefully he's back fit in time for that as well. But yeah, I feel like the second leg now, you're completely right, Alex. I think we need to rotate. Hopefully see a bit more of Ahmed. I mean, get in the chat and let me know what you thought about it. He only had a few minutes, barely had any touches. He had one little run, didn't he? But one thing I can say, he does look rapid and looks like he's got very quick feet. And I was impressed with what I've seen so far from him. Boye gave Harry the pace boost in that tackle. Yeah, in that recovery tackle, definitely. Heart was in my mouth at that bit. I thought Boye was going to take him out, and luckily he didn't. Always, I think that means rated. Thank you so much, Ronan. I appreciate that. So for the plaits attached to the beanie, that would be cool, wouldn't it? But no, unfortunately, this is me. This is my hair, not attached in any way. Rather give you for debut than watch Matcha play again, says Cole. Yeah, I agree that. Why not have a mixture though? I think you're still gonna have some experience out there for the young guns, and I think Mata, like I love the guy. I thought yesterday came in the 10, but a bit like Ahmad didn't have a lot of time to impact the game as well. But where else are we going to see Juan Mata picking up minutes? And I feel like this kind of game would be perfect for him to do that. I'm not saying obviously we play all of the experienced players. I'm just think that odd one and Mata would be one that I would choose to play. But of course, if that means him playing over Donny van der Beek, then I don't approve of that. Of course not, because I want Donny to play more. Good morning to Doug. Doug, I hope you're doing very, very well. We'll talk about the Merseyside derby in a minute. A massive game, obviously, coming up tomorrow. And you know what? Previous years, you look at it and think Liverpool are going to batter Everton, but this season, I mean, Liverpool will be confident off the back of that Leipzig win, of course, but this season, definitely more of a, you'd say, even tie looking in on that. It's hard to predict, isn't it? I mean, I still personally think Liverpool will edge it. It just always seems to happen in these games, and the fact that they beat Leipzig as well. But definitely, it's going to be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to watching that for sure. Director of football needed badly, definitely. Still stand by that. Still need that. The academy are really exciting this season. The academy, the women's team, the first team, and obviously having a much better season as well. And things are definitely looking positive at United, 100%. Roy Bear says, do you reckon that us as fans have overhyped Rashford? I know he scored and his runs were quality yesterday, but his one-on-one situations worried me. I completely agree. One-on-ones, I've just said it, in front of goal, he definitely needs to improve. I don't know what it is, even the one where Bruno squared it and you think that's got to go in. And it's just not going in for him at the minute. I think every player has a dip in front of goal, and I think Rashford's just on his. So I think you have to think about the other way he contributes to the game. And this is, I don't want to compare players, but I think if you look at Rashford and Martial, not yesterday, obviously that's unfair to grade Martial, but I think in the times that Martial hasn't been scoring, the issue was Martial wasn't really influencing the game anywhere else, whereas Rashford, I think he does influence the game a little bit more. But in front of goal, definitely he needs to improve. I think that on that left-hand side, it definitely suits him better, for sure. But yeah, I think Rashford needs to improve. But like I say, it's all around game. You can't deny it. Some of his passes, his assists yesterday, he still ended up scoring. I do think we always tend to overhype, especially English players. I mean, I've said it for ages with Greenwood. I don't want to get sucked into that hype, and I stand by that. But I just feel like Rashford is one of these where he's just got that moment in him, hasn't it? And I think that's where you keep him on. And I think Martial, to be fair, has got that moment in him as well. I think it's just a case of getting him involved in the game a bit more. And I'm hoping that if Cavani is out at the weekend, that Martial starts, because I feel like I want to see Martial in that central position and hopefully bagging a goal, because I think it'll do wonders for his confidence at the minute. I'm Blue. Thank you so much for the super chat. So yesterday showed the football IQ between Lindelof and Boye. Boye has pace when the wingers get behind him, but Lindelof has a better football IQ. I've never doubted, to be fair, Lindelof's football IQ. I think he does read the game well. The only thing I've ever said about Lindelof is his vulnerability physically. And we saw it against West Brom at the weekend. He got bullied. And to be fair, I do think it was a foul on him, but at the same time, I still think he needs to do better. And like I say, we could have conceded 3 or 4 against that player at the weekend. He literally bullied out. And it wasn't just Lindelof, it was Maguire as well. It was both of them. And that's the only thing I'd say about Lindelof. I think his IQ is good. He reads the game well, but he's not as quick as Boye, that's for sure. And I think Boye in the air is a bit more dominant than him. Mark says Rashford is fine. He's still young and he's still learning. Of course he is. And the future is definitely massive for him. But I do think his decision making at times he comes across a bit greedy because he wants to score almost the perfect goal. I get it. Or sometimes, like I say, he needs to be more clinical in front of goal. And I'm a massive Rashford fan. I mean, I've got a shirt next to me here. I love Rashford to bits, but I'm not going to sit here and be under the illusion that he's the absolute perfect all-rounded player. Like Mark said, he's still very young and he's still got a lot to work on. And his finishing is definitely one of them things. Boy gives the players around him confidence. Lindelof can be intimidated. Physically is what I mean. Physically, I think sometimes he's a bit. He reads the game really well, which is why I think he gets away with it a lot because he's there before the centre forward at times because he reads it. He's kind of like a yard ahead. But when the ball's in the air, physically, I think he struggles a little bit. If Cavani is injured, then Hugo should be on the bench. Thoughts? Shorter as well. Obviously, was there yesterday. He didn't get a look in, unfortunately, but he's there or thereabouts in the first team as well. There's another one that we should definitely be looking at. Maguire with Lindelof looks bang average, but Maguire with Boye looks more like a top centre back. Yeah, it does seem when you're watching it, you feel a bit more confident. I don't know why, but you feel a bit more comfortable and confident when it's Maguire and Boye there as opposed to Lindelof. And I think it's because of that physically, and also I think if a ball goes in behind Maguire, you know for a fact that Boye is fast enough to recover that, and he's fast enough to be that sweeper, if you like. We know that Maguire, let's face it, he's not very quick at all. Ball in behind and he struggles, and I think that's why I prefer Boye. But I'm sitting here saying that Lindelof is slow, and Lindelof is definitely not slow as well, which is why I just think the edge that Boye has is that physicality and the fact that he'll throw himself in front of absolutely everything. And hence why he gets injured all the time. I mean, you saw him do that little failed bicycle kick yesterday, and that's what I love about Boye, his unpredictability. But from a manager's point of view, and I've said that a lot, if you want a central partnership, you want a partnership you can trust. At the minute, we know we can't trust Lindelof and Maguire, that's 100%. But when you're looking at a character like Eric Boye, you know that he's spontaneous and he's got that mad moment in him where he can be a bit rash or he'll lose his head a little bit or he'll switch off. And as a manager, I just feel like Ollie trusts Lindelof a bit more, like because Boye is such a nutcase and it kind of goes against him in that sense, I think, with Boye. But yeah, exactly what Ronan said. You can't rely on him, unfortunately, and it is unfortunately because I think he's a very good player. But as I've just mentioned, he's a bit of a nutcase, and by being that player, he gets himself hurt a lot as well. And he's made of glass, as you know, and we've got to try and protect him at all costs. Rashford's finishing is frustrating. I totally agree. I think it will improve though, confidence. I think Rashford's finishing has improved. I think if you're looking at earlier on in his career, I think it has improved. But like you say, it can still improve definitely even more. It's Boye that makes our centre backs better. Boye is too injury prone, which is a problem. I completely agree with that totally. I mean, talk about defensive players and where we can invest. A lot of us have said we need a centre back. I in the past have said I like looking for Meccano against Liverpool the other night. You have to say that have we dodged the bullet by not going in for him because he looked all over the place. But when you're looking out there, what centre backs do you guys think would improve our side right now? When you're looking around at players who are realistic people that we could sign, where should Ollie be looking? Like, what centre back would you guys be looking at? Because that's one thing I'd like to know. Because, like I say, Upamecano was one that I quite like the look of, but seeing him up against Liverpool the other day, it obviously gave me second thoughts because he didn't have a good game at all. And it could be that his mind is already in Bayern Munich, who knows? But he just wasn't. I don't know. He just wasn't the Upamecano that I've seen, should I say? Alex, thank you so much for the super chat. It says, who would you be in your starting 11 in the second leg? It's a good question. I think Henderson has to start again in goal. I think I'd like to see Brandon Williams. I'm not going to go for the full 11, but the kind of players I would love to see playing: Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, Mengi. These are players that for me I'd like to start. Probably Tellers again, to be honest with you. I think we still need to see more of Alex Tellers. I like the look of him, but I think we need to see more of him. And I think that he'd get started in that game. In terms of the midfield, I mean, it's anyone's guess, isn't it? Donny, if fit, I think would start in that one. I've already mentioned Mata as well. I think Matic would probably start in that game. There's so many young, talented players coming through right now that I would love to see a lot of them playing. Like Shorter, I've already mentioned. Obviously, Ahmad's already there as well. Yeah, Hannibal, I would love to see. There's all these players that I would love to see, but I think Ollie will go. I think he'll rotate, but I think he'll also give games to the players that I've already mentioned that haven't had a lot of games. So the likes of Mata, maybe even Matic in there as well. Not Mengi, sorry. What did I even say? Mengi, ignore me on that one. But that's the kind of game I'd like to see him in. But obviously, he's gone to Derby, so I don't know why I said that one. But Tuanzebe definitely one I'd like to see featuring there. But it's interesting to see like that midfield, how much will he rotate? Donny, like I say, hasn't played much, but will Ollie play him in that second leg where it's a game that's pretty much won and risk him, or will he save him for the league? And for me, I want to see more of Donny, so I hope it happens. And I've just been corrected. I spotted it straight away, guys. I spotted it. He has gone to Derby. I was just on a roll there. I was on a roll. Tellers is good. Tellers is good going forward, but weak in defence. Yeah, I think defensively, like I said, that's why I want to see more of him. I think at times he does get beat a little easy, but his delivery into the box is obviously exceptional, especially if you've got someone like Cavani there as well. So it'd be interesting. So some of you guys, Asula, someone said from Bayern, world class, and he said he wants to play for Manchester United. He's a giant. I know that much. He's a giant. How quick is he? That's one thing I'd be interested to see. He doesn't strike me as being the quickest of defenders, and obviously we don't want a Maguire point too. I think we need someone who's got a bit of pace there. Even Maguire is going to stay as that skipper in there, then you'd think it's someone to partner him. And I think Sociedad strikes me as being a bit slow, but definitely an interesting one. And then all of the Villa said I would love United to win the Europa League. Yeah, so would I. So would I. But obviously looking ahead to Newcastle, like I've already mentioned, it's a big game. It's a game that I never really feel too confident because it's one of them horrible games that I just hope that we turn up. And obviously being at home, we haven't been the best at home as well, let's be honest. So yeah, I think it's one of them games. But if we perform like we did against Sociedad, there's no doubt about it, we'll win that game. But like I've already mentioned, it's already going to be a different test, isn't it? The fact that Newcastle are going to be a team who you'd think would sit in and then try and maybe counter on us, like it's going to make it a different test. And I've got the likes of Maximum who can spring and counter on us as well. But we know we struggle against this kind of team, and I think it's one of these where we're going to have to be patient and we're going to have to try and break Newcastle down. I think if we get an early goal, it makes it completely different because then it'll open the game up a bit more, and it could be any score really going from that. Because genuinely going forwards, I think we're terrifying and we've got enough going forwards to cause them some trouble. But I just worry when teams sit in. I mean, we saw it against West Brom, passing the ball sideways, really, really slow, running out of ideas. I don't want to see that again. And I think it's about us starting quick, keeping the ball moving. And yesterday, I'll be honest, we looked up for it from the start. Like I say, we could have easily conceded 2 in that first 3 minutes. But after that, we had the bit between our teeth. I think Fred was great in that middle, breaking the play up, always on the front foot. And I feel like yesterday we were up for it. And I think we need to be up for it again from the start against Newcastle. The more the game goes on, the more confidence I'll grow if we haven't scored. So I think it's one of them where we need to start quickly. And like I say, we need to keep that ball moving. We've seen it against low block teams, the likes of West Brom, where we pass it too slow and sideways, too safe. And we need to take a bit more risks. But we need to be patient with it as well. We don't need to force it. Exactly, Mark. We never know which United will turn up. And that's exactly what I mean. We need to start quickly. See Bruce, I'm sure will be loving the idea of playing against us and actually getting a win against us after the way Newcastle have been playing. And like I've already mentioned, it's cup final for them. It's cup final. So even though he was only on for 8 minutes, I really like what I saw from Ahmad. Didn't look out of place at all. Yeah, like I say, he didn't get much of the ball, but when he did get it, I think he looks confident. He's got really quick feet. He's rapid as well. And like you, want to see more of him. I think I did like what I see of him, but I'm not getting sucked into it and getting blown away because let's be honest, he had 8 minutes and barely touched the ball. But you are right, he did not look out of place at all. Man of match, Mike said Bruno. I think I would have probably gone Bruno as well. I thought Bruno yesterday, it's one of the best games I've seen for him for a while. I mean, I've still been bagging goals, and I know, but we've seen his performances. I don't think have been as good yesterday. I thought his passing was spot on, his movement was spot on, his hunger and his desire to get on the ball. And the intelligence, by the way, I mean, his second finish was quality, but the first goal, the way that he took a step back, he knew in his head, he knew what was happening there. He's anticipated that the goalkeeper and the defender were going to collide, and he just took a step back and just waited. He's a yard ahead in his head, and he's such a good player. And these people who call him Fernandes and say he's only got that in his locker, like, just deluded. What a player we have got with Bruno Fernandes, such a good player. And yeah, that like I said, that goal yesterday, the audacity just to stand back and wait for it to happen. But I would have given it to him, but I thought, like I say, Fred had a good game, and I thought Dan James had a really good game as well, and that would probably be my 3 runners for the man of the match yesterday. But Bruno just tipped it for me. Were you a bit worried when Bruno and Rashford were wearing pink boots? No. It's only Phil Jones I worry about with that one, Doug. Not these two. Definitely not. I'm actually a fan of pink boots, to be fair. The new Nikes are nice. Those 2 penalties he scored were fantastic. Exactly spot on. But yeah, going into the weekend, let's talk about going forwards. Like I say, positive result against Sociedad. Managed to rest quite a few players as well. Cavani, we'll see what happens there. Martial as well, obviously. And see who starts at those 2. But going forwards, Dan James, guys, let me know in the chat. Do you think that he's worthy of a start, or do you think it will be a case where it's cup games or every now and again he'll play and he won't get a run of games as such? Do you think he's more of an impact player? But he definitely played well yesterday, and we've already said on that right-hand side we've lacked balance. We've already said that we want someone to play out on that right-hand side. Could Dan James be that guy? We shall see, but I think a run of games would definitely help him. In terms of what I expect to see, I think it'll be Greenwood starting on the right, Rashford on the left, and maybe Martial or Cavani centrally, depending on obviously which one of them is fit. That's what I think will happen. But if they're not fit, then why not start with the same front three again? They say if it's not broken, why change it? I completely agree with that. But the only worry I have is the fact that Dan James, because of the spacing behind yesterday, he had a lot of space to run into. With his back to goal, I think that's where he struggles. And if you're against a low block team where you're going to be coming feet a lot, I think we've seen it a lot in the past where that's just not his game. That's just not the way that Dan James plays. So I don't think he'll start in this game. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? I've already said that my prediction, I think we'll concede. Obviously, we got a clean sheet yesterday, just about. But I've already said that I think we'll concede. And I think that'll be a 3-1 win to Manchester United. That's what I've gone for. In terms of scorers, I said I think maybe Rashford will score, Bruno will score, and I said I hope that Harry Maguire would get a header as well. But we'll see. And Ryan agrees with me there. He says that unfortunately not Newcastle won't allow any space in behind, which will affect James's game. Completely understanding, agree with that, because if he's on the byline receiving the ball with his back to goal, he struggles there. He wants to be able to spin off in behind, and Newcastle, like you say, aren't going to allow that space. So that kind of eradicate Dan James. It'd be a bit pointless playing him there. And that's not me being disrespectful to Dan James. I think this is why you have a squad of players where you can rotate for certain games. The same tactics do not suit every single game. And yesterday, like I say, it was more of an open game where we could counter-attack at pace, which allowed the space for Dan James to run into. Newcastle, I think, is going to be completely different, a tighter game. For the second one, Dan says he'd start Lee Grant in goal. That's how confident I am. I'm saying 4-0 again. Grant's a good shout, to be fair. I forgot that we even had Grant, to be fair. But Henderson yesterday, there's a lot of talk about the whole De Gea Henderson talk. I thought Henderson had a good display. Like I said, didn't have a lot to do. But when he was called upon, I thought he looked assertive and he looked on the front foot and he looked confident. And that De Gea Henderson battle is going to be an interesting one in the coming weeks, definitely. Because De Gea, I fully expect De Gea to come back into the lineup. I think Ollie will trust him. But no doubt about it, he's got competition there with Henderson. And he'll know that. And he needs to step up. And if he doesn't, like I say, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them too. Newcastle is more of a game for Mata than James. Yep, I agree. Trying to find a little pockets of space. Like I say, we need intelligent, quick play, 1-2s, moving the ball, even the risky passes in between the lines to the likes of Mata and Bruno will find them spaces. Definitely, I wouldn't object to that. I don't think it's going to be a spaceful game where there's going to be room for players to run into. It's going to be one of them where it's going to be a lot of 1-2s, trying to break them down. Like I say, we're going to have to be patient. So I would not moan at the fact that Mata did start. Are you concerned about a Darlow Master Classic? Yeah, of course I am. It always seems that. I mean, I remember Pope a few years back, Eton as well. It always seems to be Burnley, bloody Burnley. But yeah, they always seem to have a worldly performance in goal, like unplayable at times. And I remember that a lot. I'm always scared of that against United. Like I said, it's cup final for most teams, particularly teams like Burnley or even teams like Newcastle, where obviously that rivalry goes back. I think it's like a cup final. It's one of them where, especially players like St. Maximum and that, it's almost like their chance to show off, isn't it? It's their chance to show what they can do. So I do worry. And he's the player that I'd say I fear the most, St. Maximum. I feel like when he's not playing at Newcastle, they're almost looking at where's their next spark coming from. He's their main guy for sure. So I think that we need to be careful and we need to be wary of him, definitely. And we need to be tight and not let him get on a run because he's devastating. When he's on it, he's unplayable, St. Maximum, and he's definitely one that I fear. Sophie, you're going to do a watch along for the Newcastle game. I could try. I have spoken to Meg about the possibility. Obviously, it depends on whether you guys would be interested in seeing that as well. But I did speak to Meg and said I'd like to. We're definitely going to be doing a watch along for a Manchester United ladies game at some point as well. So, guys, feel free to come and tune in for that. But if you guys want to see a watch along on hair dry treatment, let me know. And obviously, the more interesting, the more likely it will be to happen, I'll say. They really have no pace. I've got Wilson obviously being injured. I completely agree. And that I was just about to say, the thing that I also worry about is Andy Carroll up against. I've already mentioned Lindelof and how I think he's vulnerable physically. Coming up against someone like Lindelof and Carroll, coming up against someone like Carroll, it's going to worry me because I think he'll get bullied off it. And we know for a fact, we saw obviously against West Brom. West Brom's tactic was to ping that ball up. He pinned himself on Lindelof, got a goal and could have got a hat-trick, maybe even more. And I feel, and it wasn't just Lindelof, I will say Maguire got brushed off it as well at one point. You saw him roll around on the floor, claiming for a free kick. We were lucky on several occasions. But my point is, they will target Lindelof. They'll put Carroll on it and lump balls up because, like I say, when St. Maximum isn't playing in particular, like Andy Carroll has been their go-to. They've been lumping the ball up and that's been their tactic. And I know for a fact that Steve Bruce will not shy away from doing that at the weekend. So, yeah, that's one I definitely worry about. I'm just hoping that we can limit their balls into the box. We can cut off the supply And like I say, Fred is a big part in that by pressing through the middle and not giving them any time. The likes of John Joe Shelby, who we know could spray the ball, not giving them any time and pressing on definitely in that midfield. Thanks to Doug for that. So like, share, and subscribe, guys. Please hit that like on the button, guys. It's been a while since I've sat in here and spoke to you guys, just me on my own. So yeah, let me know if you like the content. Please hit a like on it, and obviously if you are new, hit that sub button as well. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ravi. I appreciate it. That's a big up self, not a United fan, but your channel is decent. I appreciate that. Thank you, and I hope you're doing well too. Lindelof is shaky, but I take him over Maguire. That's the interesting one, is it? Because it seems for Ollie like Maguire is the one who's cemented in there, and it's whoever's going to go alongside him. Why not try Lindelof and Boye? But yeah, I think that Maguire is the one that he obviously will keep because he's skipper probably. But yeah, he'll keep. Sophie, I'm shocked that you think that Newcastle can compete with United. Look, we've already seen some of the results this season. Like, there's been some crazy results already. There still will be. At home, we haven't been the most convincing. Newcastle, it'll be like a cup final for them. I think you've got to be careful. This is one of them games where it's not going to be easy. I think if you get an early goal, like I've already mentioned, it could be any scoreline. But the longer it goes on, the more that they'll feel confident. Agree with Doug. If a Liverpool fan is telling you to subscribe, it's obviously a great channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thanks to Doug as well. I appreciate it. Lindelof should be dropped after the West Brom defending for the goal. Awful. Yeah. Someone said that surely Boye should play, otherwise it's going to be West Brom times 2. That's what I fear. That's to Maximum and those balls into the box to bully Lindelof. That's genuinely what I worry about. But I still think that Ollie will stick with Lindelof. But I obviously would rather see Boye in there for this one. But who knows? Because last time I think Lindelof came in, a lot of people expect him to get bullied, and he absolutely had a worldie of a game. So Lindelof is capable of doing that, but it's the shakiness I don't like. I want to feel confident, and I can't remember the last time I felt confident with us defensively. Slim Reaper said, "Hi Sophie girl, I didn't see the game last night, working a late shift, but I love catching these shows. Always brilliant content. Villa fan in peace." Thank you, Slim Reaper. I appreciate that. Villa having a good season this season as well, and I appreciate you tuning in. And I hope that work went well for you as well. I think Diallo needs to play games for the first team, a bit under the 23s. Thoughts? Yeah, I think we don't want to throw him in too quickly. As much as we're all excited and we want to see more of that, we don't want to just chuck him straight in. We've seen it far too often. We mentioned we got overhyped with Rashford early. Someone said we've seen so often that we've got young players and we've thrown them in and we get overhyped. I think Januzaj was a really good example of that, where we kind of overhyped them too quickly. And I'm not saying Januzaj isn't a good player, but we were like, a lot of people talking about him being one of the world's best, and he obviously wasn't that. So yeah, I think we need to be patient with him. But I want to see more of him. And like I say, he didn't look out of place. He looked really confident, and he didn't have a lot to do. Like, I'm not getting too blown away. He barely touched the ball. Let's be real about it. But he didn't look phased at all. And obviously his performances in the under-23s have been showing what a talent he is. And I just hope he can bring that up to the first team. But we don't have to rush it. You okay, Sophie? Good video. Thanks, Daniel. I'm very well, thank you, and I hope you're doing good too, Daniel. And thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Sophie United, who would you sell, bench, and start more? That's a good question. Phil Jones, I would definitely sell. I think Lingard, even though I love the guy to bits, but I think seeing him going to West Ham and showing what he can do, I'd like to see him probably get a permanent move there or somewhere else. I feel like that'd be good for his career. And realistically, he's not going to be anywhere near our starting lineup, you'd like to think. So, yeah, I think that Lingard, I would get rid of. There's still a lot of players that I think I'll get rid of, to be fair. I think Pogba will end up leaving, which is a shame. I'd like to get Grealish in if that did happen. I'd like to see Donny play more. Definitely, I'd like to see Donny play more. But I think the issue we have there is, where is he going to fit Donny in? And I think that's obviously what Ollie's struggling to do. And that's what makes us question whether he is an Ollie signing at all. Yeah, it's hard. I think you have to write a list then of, you think about the kind of players we've got. Obviously, Rojo's gone now and whatnot. But there's a lot of players still that I think Ollie is slowly starting to ship out. Phil Jones has to be one that surely has to be on the way out in the summer, you'd think. Sell Tuanzebe to Villa. I know Villa fans love Tuanzebe. To be fair, if he doesn't play more, that could be something that potentially ends up happening. I would like to see Tuanzebe play more, but we have to be, again, he's still young, and I think a lot of people, I mean, he got thrown in against PSG, had an absolute worldly performance, but then you see him in other games have an absolute stinker. So I think he's one of them that we need to ease in. And I think Europa League, especially that second leg, like I say, would be a good experience for him. And I think that's the kind of games that he needs to be playing in at the minute. But he's definitely the one that I want us to hold on to, because I think he's a great talent. He's got all the right attributes. Had a few injuries, and obviously Terry Bounce is back from that. But It's not a finished article yet for sure, but I know Villa fans definitely loved him. That's credit to him and how well he did there. Oh, rank Greenwood, Neto, Foden, Saka. So I have to be real here, and you know me, I'm not biased in any way, but I have to say Foden for me is the top of that. Foden, I think, is levels, and then I'll probably go Foden, Greenwood, Saka, Neto. Even though Neto is class, I just feel like Neto is newer in terms of like he's had this season. You probably say he's really kicked on. Do you know what I mean? Saka, I think, was doing it last season. Greenwood was doing it last season, and Foden obviously was doing it last season. So I think that would be mine. But they're all talented players, all quality players. That's a hard one to rank. And I think, to be fair, I said Greenwood above Saka. I do think, though, there's not major levels in that. I just feel like Greenwood, for me, is a more rounded player. Yeah, that's my ranking. But, I feel like you could do that in any order, and as long as you had your reasoning, it would kind of be okay. But either way, if Foden's not top of that list, then I think you're definitely being biased. Like, Foden is clear at the minute. Like, the way he's performing at City, I said it a few years back, like, what a player he is, and he's just gone from strength to strength. And you'd have to say that Pep and the way that he's managed him has done really, really well. So yeah, that's my ranking. Alex has gone for Foden, Greenwood, Saka, and Neto. Yeah, exactly the same as mine. Greenwood, Michael says Greenwood could become great. He definitely could. He definitely could. I feel like he had a bit of a quieter game yesterday, but he did that little run, didn't he? He did little step overs. He's shown his ability. He dragged a few of his shots, but no doubt about it. I think he's enough one if you need to get a goal and kick on and get a run of games. And I've already said on that right hand side, we mentioned Dan James how well he played, but Greenwood on that right hand side as well. I feel like he brings us the best balance at the options that we've got at the minute. So that right hand side, Greenwood, I think I really rate Greenwood. He can go either way. His balance, he doesn't shy away from the ball. He rarely gives the ball away, to be fair as well. But I feel yesterday he just dragged a few of his shots. It's almost like he was trying a bit too hard, like because he really wanted to get on the score sheet. You can understand when you're battering a team like Sociedad the way we were yesterday. It was so open. And like Savage said, to be fair, in commentary, he said that it could have been 6-0. Like, I know he won 4, but it could have been 6 or 7, realistically. Exactly right. He's playing well. He's just missing the goal. But I have no doubt about it with his ability. He just needs to keep having faith in it. And the goal will come 100%. My favourite player of all time, Carl, is definitely Paul Scholes. I mean, if you know me and you know me well, you know that Paul Scholes is the reason why I started playing football in the first place. Yeah, absolutely love Paul Scholes, so he's mine. But there's definitely a few other players. I mean, Wayne Rooney's another one. And I saw his debut at Old Trafford, which is why I found it like emotional when he did retire, because it was like I've seen his whole career. But what a player! What a player! Thoughts on the job Gerrard's doing at Rangers? That yesterday, I mean, obviously it switched to the penalty at the end of the United game, didn't it? And I watched that 4-3. What an absolute game, and what a result for them as well against Antwerp. Yeah, doing a good job, and fair play to him. Fair play, and if he can make it, obviously as a manager, then I love the idea of legends becoming managers. Obviously, we've seen Pirlo at Juventus. Now we've got Ollie at United. We did have Lampard. Like, I like the idea of that, but at the same time, I don't agree with it if they're just chucked in on sentiment. I think they've got to actually prove. And so far, you'd have to say Lampard is doing a decent job. LRB is not impressed with my skulls. We will be on Sunday. It's Sunday, but yeah, we'll win on Sunday. Hello to George. George is in the chat. Hello, George. I hope you're good. Greenwood, yeah, I think Greenwood is definitely a striker. But like I said, because he can go either way, I think that's why he is useful on that right hand side, because you have Rashford on the right hand side, and you know for a fact that he's not going to want to cut in on his left, whereas Greenwood can do that. Greenwood is very happy to do that. And I think that's why he just got the edge on that right hand side already. Diallo already looking like he can justify me labelling him as Ivorian Messi. I love that. He didn't look phased. I want to see more of him. That's what I'm going to say. I want to see more of him. But yeah, I was buzzing that he got on yesterday. What your thoughts on people criticising Messi for his? I criticised him. I'm not going to lie, and Ronaldo deserves criticism as well. But the only thing about Messi, I'd say, is I haven't watched Barcelona. I'll be honest, for a bit. And watching him the other night, like, he was strolling around the pitch. He looked like he couldn't really be bothered. Like, he scored a penalty, yeah, but other than that, like, he did absolutely nothing. How often have you seen Messi get the ball and just go on a mad run and lift the players around him? Like, it's almost like his head was dropped, and it's almost like he's done. Like, he knows it's probably his last Champions League type Barcelona, and I don't know. It's just his own persona. It doesn't seem as bothered about Barcelona. You can kind of understand it. I guess that's what happens when you keep a player at a club when they don't want to be there. And it's a shame to see that. I think it's a shame. But yeah, I feel like he looked really demotivated, if you like. And that's not what you used to see from Messi. He's quite often the guy, yes, he's in a poor Barcelona team. I completely get it. But you normally see him going on a mad run or having some kind of influence on the game. And he did absolutely nothing. So, yeah, I think the movie's obviously going to happen for him. And like I say, it's what happens when you keep players when they're not happy and they don't want to be there. And it's just a shame that it's ended that way, really, for Messi. But I do feel like with Ronaldo, and I'm going to say I'm really biased here, and I am biased towards Ronaldo. I'm a United fan, of course I am. But with Ronaldo, I feel like as he's older, he's kind of twisted his game, if you like. You know what I mean? He's tweaked his game, he's adapted it. We all know his aerial ability. He doesn't. He's not rapid anymore. Ronaldo is still quick, but he's not rapid. But he's that like out goal scorer now. Do you know what I mean? He's got that knack in the box. We know how well he can leap for a ball in the box, and he's adapted his game. Like he doesn't rely on dribbling past players as much anymore. He is that poacher in the box, if you like, at times. And I think that, and of course, he's still got a worldly goal in him. We know how good Ronaldo is, but for me, it's just he's tweaked his game, he's adapted his game to become more of that poacher. He doesn't rely on pace anymore. Whereas Messi, he hasn't got that the height for headers. I know he scored a header against us, which still kills me. But do you know what I mean? It's just a different mold of player. And I'm not saying that Messi is rubbish or anything like that. Of course, I do think it's very much a case of him. He's demotivated now at Barcelona, and he needs that move, and that move will no doubt happen. Whether it's to PSG or to City, we'll see what happens there. But at the minute, he's definitely a lot flatter than what you're used to seeing of him. And I just feel like I said, Ronaldo, it's probably because of the attributes, to be fair. He's a bigger player, he's a stronger player, he's taller, better in the air. It's easier for Ronaldo to do that, whereas Messi's a lot smaller, and obviously he's very reliant on dribbling past players. But I kind of feel like you can only do that for so long in your career. But I'm not sitting here saying Messi's finished. I think he's finished at Barcelona, but I still think he's a class player, no doubt about it, and he's still got years left in him. But that move is definitely something that needs to happen. Messi is rubbish, says Ryan. I'll still have him at United. Never going to happen, of course, but nah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. United stand anymore, or is that old news? That United stand, I mentioned it earlier on in the stream. I'm still friends with everyone for United stand. I know that because of COVID, obviously not being able to go to the grounds and stuff, they've done different formats, and I know they've been rotating a lot with personnel on there and stuff, and that's cool. And that's all that's happened is they've just been rotating. Like I said, I still got on with Flex, still got on with Mark, still willing to go on United stand whenever. Obviously, Mark and Flex came on my channel on Ladies Red and did interviews. Like, still a positive relationship there, and that's all it is. Literally a rotation, a change of faces just through the COVID and whatnot. And because we can't have our normal format, hopefully back to stadium soon, and I'll be back on the fan cams. But yeah, we're just waiting. Self trying hard to not. Yeah, I don't want to disrespect him because I'm not like that. Do you know what I mean? But I am biased to Ronaldo, and I know that, and I always have been, and I always will be. But that's genuine. That's my observation. I think that because Ronaldo's got different attributes, he's been able to adapt his game, whereas Messi is still a player who needs to dribble past players. And like I say, you can't do that forever, can you? Who do you reckon will win the Europa League? If you say Arsenal, I'm subscribing. I'm saying United. Of course, I'm going to say United. I'm not going to say anyone else. You're in it to win it. In it to win it, you've got to do that. And the way that we performed, obviously, yesterday, of course, I'm feeling extra confident at the minute. Saw a clip of you bossing the AFTV recently. Yeah, I'm guessing you mean in the game that we played. Still, obviously, you mentioned United stand, but that's still my best memory, I think, on YouTube so far. That George Kyle was there, actually. You witnessed it. But the flick over DT's head in particular was funny because of what happened just after it. Obviously, I don't think it was broadcasting that way. But the flick happened, and then shortly after it, the whole sending off, happened. So a lot of people said like his head had gone and stuff, but shook hands with DT afterwards, and all was good. But the experience was class nonetheless, really good. The clip is on my channel as well, guys. I think it's still my highest viewed video, so if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's a really good day, great experience. Doug, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, could we see Rangers versus United in the next round? Great content as usual, Sophie. Must be weird doing a show on your own. Also, how was Harry Potter Frustration? Yeah, I played Harry Potter Frustration last night. Really good. £10 off Amazon. I'll definitely recommend if you're bored at home and want to play some board games. Harry Potter Frustration. Frustration is a key word in that, definitely, by the way. It is frustrating. Rangers against United, what a tie that would be. I would definitely like to see that. I couldn't bear the thought of Gerard's team beating us. Like, that would kill me. But entertainment-wise, yeah, that would be fantastic. And thank you so much, Doug, for that kind comment. I appreciate that. Soph at AFTV spinning, very good clip. It was funny. Sophie's still living rent free in DT's head. And Dan said what happened to Emma's channel. Emma at the minute, obviously, she's moved and whatnot. The kids are at home because obviously lockdown and COVID, and they both started full-time jobs, and there's just a lot going on at the minute. Emma, like I say, will be back on Ladies in Red. She's fun confirmed that Ladies in Red will be live tonight. I will confirm times. I'm just waiting on the girls to confirm, but Ladies in Red tonight. But yeah, I think you just got a lot to obviously do the work, to the homeschooling, and the YouTube, and I totally understand that. I completely understand it. So yeah, but she's okay. She's doing well. We're still speaking our WhatsApp group and whatnot, and like I say, yeah, she's still doing good. But thank you for asking about it. Obviously we'll pass it on to her as well. Not getting bored in Harry Potter frustration. Getting bored in lockdown, sorry, Harry Potter Frustration. I'd play that even if I wasn't bored anyway. But yeah, board games have been my saviour through lockdown. I've got to be honest. I've played a lot of board games, Scrabble, Monopoly. Guys, let me know what your favourite board games are in the chat because I was saying this yesterday. You cannot underestimate how important they're expensive now. By the way, they're like 27 quid or something. 27 quid for a board game, or £21. I saw some, and I was just like, what? But they're like monuments, aren't they? You keep them forever. Board games, so you find them out later on, and then have a game of it. Like I've got Monopoly, Scrabble, Harry Potter Scrabble. Someone said Connect Four. What a game! Jenga is another one that I've been playing. I've got the Hobbit Monopoly as well because I'm a big nerd like that. Headbands is a good one. Harry Potter. I've got a lot of Harry Potter themed games, if you can tell. Harry Potter headbands. Uh, Uno is another good one. Cluedo, yeah. Guess what Cluedo I've got? Harry Potter one. Just put that in there. Cluedo's good. Connect Four is a great game though. Connect Four is a great game. Um, Sequences. I don't think I played Sequences, so that's interesting. Pie Face, Snakes and Ladders, Operation. Yeah, what a game! Think of all the old ones like Buckaroo, Kaplunk. Some great games. Scrabble, Jenga, or Monopoly for me. Yeah. See, I always win Scrabble, and that's not even being cocky, but I think being an English teacher it helps me. So I always win Scrabble. So I always love to play Scrabble. I'll have to play some. Maybe we should get like an online Scrabble tournament at some point, me versus subscribers or something. Cards Against Humanity is yeah, got that game as well. But I need to get the extension packs. I've got the original, and once you've played it so many times, and then you've kind of seen all the cards, it doesn't get funny anymore. So I need to get some of the extension packs on that definitely. I'm Blue, thank you for the super chat and the random question. Who would win a battle, 5 shrimps versus a chicken? I'm going for the chicken. Chickens are brutal, Like chickens close up, they scare me a little bit. I can't lie. I think they're a bit brutal. So I'm going for the chicken. Hungry Hippos. Chess after. You know what? I still haven't watched the Queen's Gambit. I need to watch that definitely. I need to watch that. Yeah, Hungry Hippos was a good one. What was Buckaroo? That was the one, isn't it? Buckaroo, where you have to pull the stuff on the back of the horse and it kicks out. Kaplunk, yeah, what a throwback. There's so many good games. I'm trying to think. I've been looking on Amazon to buy some more because, like I say, you play them all and you kind of run out. And chess is one that I'll probably need to get. I haven't played chess for a while. Doug said he would like to play me at Scrabble. Definitely, I think that would be cool. So, first, if you was on FIFA, that will happen. Don't you worry. If you've seen my Twitch streams lately, obviously I'm doing one every week on ECL, who sponsor my show. Please go and make sure you follow them and follow on Twitch as well. But yeah, I do a FIFA social career mode, and I did one yesterday. And if you notice, like my Mac at the minute just doesn't work with Twitch, like it just lags the hell out, and that's why I haven't done any FIFA streams on my channel yet. But I will be doing that definitely once the technology can get sorted. Mousetrap, what a game! What a game! Jenga, I think, is a good one as well. Chess, yeah. There's so many. There's so many. Pictionary, and there's one on the phone as well. Let me see what it's called. I've got it on my phone, and basically, it's a bit like bands. It's called Guess What. Guess What on your phone. I'll try and show you the. I don't know if you can see the symbol. Guess What. That's the one. Get that on your phone because basically, like, it's different categories. There's like Harry Potter around. There's animals. There's football teams. There's anything you like, and you hold it above your head and you go up if it's right, down if it's wrong. And obviously, the people watching you have to give you clues without giving it away. And that's a fun way to pass time as well. So I'd recommend that one as well. If England flop at Euro 21, who replaces Southgate? Good question. Good question. I guess it depends who's going to be around at that time. I'll be honest, Southgate, I feel like that he's kind of been on the way out now for a little bit. I kind of feel like it's going to be stale after what happened at the last tournament. Obviously, everyone loved him and the old waistcoats and whatnot. And I feel like since then it's kind of got a bit repetitive. Interesting one. Interesting one. Who would you say deserves that? I mean, someone just said Arsene Wenger. That's a decent check. But do you think that England will want someone who is English to be the manager, or do you think they'd be happy with having someone like Arsene Wenger in? I think it's an interesting one. But yeah, there's a lot of board games in the chat that are still coming through. But in terms of managers, Southgate, I think he deserves a bit more time. But I just get the general feeling, just feels like it's gone a bit stale. Do you know what I mean? But obviously COVID hasn't helped the whole situation as well. I think we need tournament football back and get a few wins under our belt, and I'm sure the waistcoats will be back out in full fashion. It'll change, but we'll see what happens. Wayne Rooney, you know what? If he does well at Derby, I would love to see Rooney as manager. I would love it. Gerrard, to be fair, could also be in shape, but Gerrard, with his experience, and if he keeps doing well at Rangers, you'd probably say would be in with a good shot of it. But I would love to see Rooney as well. Eddie Howe's another decent shout. Brendan Rodgers would be my choice, says Alex. That's what I mean. There's a lot of good managers out there. I think it depends. I mean, someone said Lampard, but would you say on his record at Chelsea deserves England? That's an interesting one, isn't it? But I guess it depends on when that does happen, or if that does happen. It does seem like a when. Who's available at that time? I think that obviously that will come into it. Carl says, "Do I still play football and for what team?" Yeah, I play for Kidderminster Harriers. At the moment, obviously, I'm not able to play because of COVID and whatnot. Basically, tier two downwards, sorry, has pretty much stopped. So that's why at the minute, yeah, I'm not playing, unfortunately, but I do still play. David Beckham all day. Another one I would absolutely love to see us. Of course, I'd love to see Beckham as England manager. We can't waste another golden generation. Exactly. I feel like we need an attacking manager, a manager who's going to take risks and play flamboyant football, don't we? And I think Southgate at the minute feels that's what I mean by saying stale. I think we've got a good generation of players come through, but it seems to play the same old faces. I mean, you saw the whole Green and Mount situation. For me, Greeley should be one of the first names on the team sheet, the way that he's been playing, not just for Villa, but for England as well, to be fair. So, yeah, I think that we need a manager who's going to be playing flair football, playing exciting, because we've definitely got, like you say, a golden generation. We've got a good generation of players coming through, and I think we need to make use of that. Totally agree with that. Yeah, Ronaldo on the sidelines was like a manager, definitely. They're scared of yourself for that fight. They suspended your league. Maybe. Um, Question: I'm happy to do quizzes again with Soph. Yeah, I haven't done a quiz for a while actually. That's true. I have not done a quiz for a while, and if you guys were up for doing another quiz at some point, I'm more than happy to do that. Obviously, me and Doug were hosting quizzes on here in lockdown, and we're doing like a range of where it's like Disney movies, we're doing sports teams, we're doing general knowledge like we did from random quizzes. It's good fun just to pass an error in lockdown. So if you guys would want to see more of that, obviously drop a comment, and I'm more than willing to do that as well. But guys, it's been really good to get back on and do a show on my own. I'll definitely do more of this. I feel like I need to do more of this, and now I've obviously got more time to do that. I'm up for doing it. But I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Just me today, just me rambling on. Richard's ramble, as I like to call them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you are brand new, please hit that sub button as well. Hit the like button, of course, if you haven't done it. Obviously, if I miss you in a chat, I have tried to get through as many as I can. So I apologise if I miss your comments. Just drop a comment afterwards, and I'll definitely reply to you there as well. Of course, I will. As I already mentioned, ladies and readies back tonight. Just keep an eye out on Instagram and on my tweets, and I'll let you know what time to confirm that. But definitely, we should be doing a show tonight. I'm just waiting on the girls to confirm that. So hopefully, I'll see a lot of you there this evening. But until then, guys, have a lovely rest of your day. Keep smiling, stay positive, and I'll speak to you soon.